Welcome to the Cutting Edge of Business, a program hosted by Dr.Valda of VF Inc., aimed at educating, enlightening, and enriching. We'll explore the cutting-edge ideas, concepts, and practices in business and apply it to our local environment in Dominica. Hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Cutting Edge of Business. It appears that we have not been with each other for quite a while, but here we are again, hosting another edition of the Cutting Edge of Business. This evening we're going to be speaking on a very special topic, grow your business. And with us will be two guests who recently attended a Grow Your Business workshop. But before we get into all of this, there have been so many birthdays in April, and I want to stop out to shout out a few of my birthday friends. I say a happy birthday to Claire Seraphine Wallace. I say happy birthday to my nephew Pat, who celebrated his birthday yesterday. I say happy birthday to Michelle Williams, also Robbie Tong. Those are Ronald Massicotte. Those are some of my friends who celebrated birthdays in the last week and in some of them this week. And my niece Zaina will be celebrating her birthday next week, Tuesday. Daryl Bob is also celebrating her birthday next week, Monday, and I say happy birthday to all of them. I wish them God's blessings, many, many wishes, good wishes for 2014 and beyond. I also want to stop to congratulate Mapping for winning the 10-10 competition in Mao. I'm a little annoyed that VF Inc. Heaters did not win, but there was a little mishap. We actually would have won that game, but apparently our team fielded an extra man, and so we had to give a default win to Mapping. So Mapping, congratulations.
In the sphere of business or your career, have you been confronted with situations that present questions for which you have no answers? In the realm of business, have you been searching for solutions? Stop now and search no more. Call us at VF Inc. at 449-9649. You may send us a fax at 449-9449. With integrity and excellence, we deliver solutions.
Tease the mind, body, and soul. At Choices, we offer a variety of books and cards for all occasions, for men, women, and children of all ages. For entertaining, create the ambience with a wide range of household items and dining wear. And for that fruity, flirty, sassy girl, a fragrance awaits you, along with our alluring selection of men's cologne. At Choices, the choice is yours.
Yes, thank you for staying with us. Again, we had just a little tiny mishap, but we'll be opening the lines after the first 15 or so minutes to get you to call in, because this evening we're going to be speaking to Ms. Afinia Henry and Mrs. Vanessa Winston, two participants of the recently held Grow Your Business Workshop in Antigua. You know, the Grow Your Business Workshop is a program established by InfoDef, or run by InfoDef, which is an agency of the World Bank with funding from the Canadian government, aimed at women entrepreneurs in the Caribbean. I will speak to you a little bit more about what it aims to do, but at the recent workshop held, not last week, but the week before, March 31st, I think, to April 4th, there were 4 participants from Dominica out of 22 persons. So that means almost 25% of the participants came from Dominica. Last week, that same seminar was held in St. Lucia, and we had one Dominican who attended, and that was Mrs. Gail Defoe out of Nature Fresh. We all know Nature Fresh, the teas, and right now they do capsules and other things. And in Barbados, when it was held, the first workshop that was held in Barbados in September 2013, there were 2 or 3 Dominican participants. And so out of the 4 workshops held so far, Dominica has commanded at least 8 participants. And that in itself is really great, because it indicates from a very competitive position that the Dominican businesses are able to compete and to show that they are worthy. So I'm going to ask the 2 participants to tell us about their own experience. And I'm going to start off with Vanessa. Vanessa, tell us a little bit about you, tell us about your products, your company, and then we will talk about the Grow Your Business workshop and what that meant for you.
Okay, my name is Vanessa Lisa Winston, proprietor of New Beginning Gifts and Leathers, where we produce decorative scented soaps, scented candles, also leather products, and recycle and natural jewelry. I'm also the president. Well, I was the vice president of DACPA, which is Dominica Arts and Craft Producers Association, but I am right now the president of DACPA. And basically, the workshop, it was the first workshop that was in Barbados. I did apply for it, but did not get the chance to get through for that first workshop. But this one, when I saw the email telling me that, you were selected, I was sort of nervous and at the same time excited, because I'm like, cool, I got selected, and then meeting Auntie Alfinia at the airport, it even gave a little bit more excitement, so I knew that I wasn't alone, but it was a good thing, because basically what we do not have here is more of these forums where women entrepreneurs can come together and actually speak of their differences, and it helps you realize that, certain things that you're going through as a business person and probably as a mother and as a woman in business, it kind of gives you a certain strength, because you realize that you are not the only one going through it. And it's not Dominica alone that going through certain challenges. So it was really a eye-opening experience, and also the information and what I learned, I can come back and share it with the members of my association. I can also share it with the young persons that I normally do little trainings with. It was really a good thing.
Wonderful, thank you, Vanessa, for that. And Afinia, well, you should know, or maybe you know, that Afinia is my sister. So Afinia, tell us a little bit about you, and then you'll tell us about your own experience at the workshop, the Grow Your Business workshop in Antigua.
Well, I'm Afinia Henry, and I am the proprietor of the Banana Tree Restaurant and the Banana Leaf Restaurant. And the Banana Tree located on Hanover Street in Roseau. Banana Leaf is at the Emerald Pool. And of course, I wear other hats, but tonight I'm wearing the hat as a restaurateur.
Okay, great.
Well, the Grow Your Workshop training program, when I got the application and it says devote 1.5 hours to fill in the application, I'm like, wow, what kind of an application is that? But that application process was about 3 hours. And I'm like, that World Bank wants everything from those applicants, they had better select me. So when we got to Antigua, and they said there were 8 participants, 4 participants from Dominica, and there were 22 participants selected out of a possible 147 participants. There were actually 47 because there were 22 in Antigua, and there was an additional 27 in St. Lucia. And they said they had received over 140 applicants. So at that time, we realized that we were a privileged few who had gotten the opportunity to participate in this very, intensive 3-day training. And basically, they were all women, ranging from ages from about 25 to, 60 and plus. And the group was so diverse, and it was so full
of energy.
It was really a privilege, and it was really heartening to see so many young women involved in business and the contribution they made at the workshop. Everybody sharing, and Caribbean people, we have a fear about, if I disclose too much of my business idea or my business concept, it may be stolen from me. And, we got to the point where it was, you either give what you have take a leap of faith, trust, take a risk. Otherwise, your idea is a good idea, and that's where it will stay. Because it would have been likened to putting a light under a bushel, and what happens to a light under a bushel? It is bright in the beginning, but it will certainly fade away. And so we had participants coming in from Dominica, Antigua, Barbados. We had participants from Jamaica, Trinidad, as far as Belize. And what it brought to the fore is that persons in business, irrespective of whether it's a product that you are selling or whether it is a service that you are providing, we all come across the same issues as business owners. There will be the unforeseen obstacles. There will be the various challenge to, accessing finance. How do I remain dynamic? How do I remain proactive? How do I remain, right there on the edge of cutting, of technology? And these things were so important to us. How do I share my ideas, knowing that, my ideas will, the persons with whom I'm sharing the ideas will assist me to develop those ideas and take best practices. And so these are some of the various areas in which we explored, and the experience was really very enlightening, very, gave us a lot of hope that as women in business, there's a lot of tools that we can use, that we have access to, and more than anything else, it was the power of networking. It was the power of knowing that there are other persons, other women across the region with whom we can bounce our ideas off, whom we can share with, and whom we ourselves can assist when they too need our assistance.
Well, that's wonderful. In fact, you've mentioned some key points, and some of the key points that, the objectives or the takeaway from the workshop is about, in terms of the network, in terms of the trust. And you kind of hit a nail right on its head, because even in St. Lucia, because I was one of the facilitators in St. Lucia, that was some of the issue, because even on the third day where the participants need to present not only their business, but how they will apply the new learning. And one participant, when she was, was told that the media wanted to come to cover it, was like, I don't want to be presenting when the media is on, because I don't want people to steal my idea. Because she was also from St. Lucia, and and so one of the other facilitators, Dr. Hollingsworth from Barbados, had to say to her, listen, an idea there's no intellectual property to an idea. And we could give an idea, and I say to somebody, go and paint a sunset. But if 10 people go and paint that sunset, I'm going to get 10 different sunsets, paintings. And so it's not about the idea, it's about how, because at the end of the day, even if somebody doesn't steal your idea because you've kept it, but you've launched your business, what prevents a person from coming to do the same business? Because that's what happened. Because even right there at the workshop, there were 2 people who were doing ready-to-eat callaloo soup. They didn't even know each other. They were from the same country, Trinidad. But when they displayed their product, there were 2 ready-to-eat callaloo soups. Different packaging, but it's the same product. And so, that networking, that sharing, because as one of the headings of the seminar said, learning plus sharing is equal growth. And so what were some of the ways, because as you said, there were diverse groups. In fact, they said to us, St. Lucia had the young group and Antigua had the older group, in the sense that, yes, Henry, so sorry that you were classified in that older group. But with age come wisdom, so be happy. Because they did say before our group that they had done it twice before. They had run a workshop in September in Barbados, and there was one in Jamaica also in September last year. But the group in Antigua was so dynamic and so on, until they came to St. Lucia and found an even more dynamic group. But St. Lucia, the youngest participant was 20 years old. And then there was another 23. There were quite a bit of 20-year-olds, women entrepreneurs, and it was so heartening to see the type of businesses they were in. The 20-year-old wanted to do something like put in solar energy in a cylinder, to sell solar energy for a cylinder. The 23-year-old was an events planner, quite successful in St. Lucia. There was another 22-year-old who had developed an app for alerting persons when there is a disaster. And it was amazing the type of, another one was in some other technologically related thing, innovation, IT related stuff that the young people were into. And so in terms of your own group and your own participation, what were some of the tools that were used to kind of create that bonding? Because we two participants came from all over, from Suriname, from Trinidad, Barbados, St. Vincent, Grenada, Guyana. They were in different fields, from daycare to this, as I told you, the solar energy, to restaurateurs, to ready-to-eat food, to persons who were doing all the local, the body products and so on. Diverse group of women. How do you build trust in such a short space of time? What were some of the tools that were used that maybe was even different to what maybe you were used to, or even if you knew it, but maybe were done maybe slightly differently? What are some of the tools that were used to foster that kind of trust and bond?
Well, one of the most famous one was the minefield. That was the most famous one. And through that, well, I was a cheerleader. I stood aside and be a cheerleader instead of being the director or the one that was blind. Because what happened is you're going through the minefield blinded, and you have to trust the person that is speaking to you to guide you. Right? You have to trust, no matter what, you have to trust. And you might encounter, at first you will start and you will see a smooth path and you will say, okay, yes. And then they're guiding you along, and here comes mines tons of mines just surround you. And you don't know which way to turn, how to step, but then you have to listen carefully to this person. That person that you have no idea where that person from up. First day you meet the person, and I have to trust that person to guide me through a minefield. And imagine if it was real mines, and that person have to guide you through a minefield, And I stood aside, and I saw a lot of things through that one game. Through that one game. You see people trusting person, people having confidence that, yes, you're going to guide me along? Okay, I'm going to trust you to guide me along. And you have to have confidence in that person, and that is somebody that you probably might not even know their name at that point in time. But then you go along, and this person guide you to pick up your treasures, to go through how to step, tell you what time to step, what time to turn, how to turn, when to bend, what leg to. It had persons, they were even forgetting which side was their left and their right, because they were so anxious because they're blindfolded and they're walking through a minefield, and I have to trust that person. But yet still people listened and they trusted what was being said to them. And also it showed me that no matter what it is, you might start from a nice path and say, you know what, we're going to go this way. Because before you start, you put that in your strategy. So you come, you do your business plan, and that is your business plan, and you figure that is your strategy. So that is your plan. But then, guess what? Whilst you're going along, you get mines surrounding you, which is the obstacles of life that normally surround you at the point of time that you probably develop in your business. You get the loan and everything approved, and you're happy. You get the place to rent, you get your materials, you get your products or whatever, and you on your way, and you feel nothing can stop you. But guess what? Mines come up in between that can explode in your foot, which is life happens. Something might happen on your way, on your path. A child might get sick. A mother might get sick. Somebody might die, which will distract that plan that you have. And you have to stop. You don't have a choice. You have to stop. And you have to be able to trust somebody, because you cannot always do it on your own. Because sometimes, yes, you have an idea and you figure, if I tell that person, boy, you think she might not have more money than me, that she probably might just go ahead and do it. But it's how you do it. And there must be somebody that you have to trust, because you never know what is on the path. You might stand there and you might see clearly in front of you, but as you go along, there are obstacles that will come your way and you will never know exactly. So trust is very important, and knowing that there is somebody that you can trust is more important, because some people don't have the surrounding of persons that they can trust, and they feel very frustrated in whatever path they take. So knowing that you can actually trust a person, that is one of the most important things.
Wonderful. And Lavinia, for you?
Well, I'll have to go back to Scamper too, just to add some more to her, what she put forward. With respect to the reality of being in business and how the goalposts can be shifted suddenly, and how, yes, you may have everything planned out, you have your business plan ready to execute, and the path is easy going. But then the bank turns you down. You have to decide that I have to change course. I have to look at other opportunities or other avenues where I may be able to raise my funds. Also, the whole idea that we had met these other participants the first time. Some of them, most of them, we did not know their names, neither did they know ours. However, by just listening, it told us that ever so often we have to stop and listen to our inner self. And sometimes too, listen to the others. Because they were the cheerleaders on. They were not leaders in the sense of giving you directions, but they were there, your core support, and we all need cheerleaders as we move forward in our businesses. And many times in life, we'll come across complete strangers, and they are the ones that put us along the path, or that clarify for us, areas or some issues that we may not fully understand. And that is what Scamper did for us. The idea that sometimes you have to turn around to, avoid getting blown up, because these obstacles are real. And so it also told us that sometimes when you have a great idea, it might be a great idea to us, but really and truly, it's really not a great idea. We have to realize that this is not something that the market wants. Consumers don't want it. The market is not ready for it. And we have to be quick and be ready for change, ready to change course, move backwards, because on that game you had to either move up your leg, move backwards, and when but why are you making me move backwards when, before there was a clear path ahead? But the environment is dynamic, changes just like that. A hurricane comes, we went to bed really great last night. Tomorrow morning, your business house is destroyed by fire, by a natural disaster, any such things, and then your whole game plan changes. So that was what Scamper did. Another great tool that was used was not Scamper.
When we had to modify the products.
Yeah.
A Scamper. So you're talking about the Mindfield
Okay,
before.
Mindfield Scamper. Actually, another one was of the tools used was Scamper. And what Scamper taught us is that all great ideas that we may have may truly just be a nice idea that we like, but it is not an idea that is ready to market. So in that methodology, what was used is that we were put into groups, and each group had to choose a product or a service.
Product identification.
For product identification, to test the product to see, of this product, whether it's a pepper sauce that you have, what is it, what other products can be derived from this product expansion, and the groups sat, and each group that chose their product or their service gave 20 options as to which areas and other product line that can be derived from this particular one product or service. And these product ideas were moved from one group of participants to the next, anywhere from 5 persons in a group. And each group selected what they thought was their best idea as their number one idea. And you're going to see if that number one idea, when that idea comes back to your table, if your number one idea would be the survivor, or would it be number 6, or would it be number 10? And to most of us who had the greatest of ideas, I don't think anybody got back their number one idea. You see? So, but what the other groups, represented was really the real market. We were supposed to be like board members who were going to test that product and test our business partners and tell them, justify to me why we have to invest more money in this product development. And so when the product went to market and they did test market, by the time it came back to our table, our number one idea was nowhere in sight. It had gone off the window. And what that really taught us was that instead of spending all that investment money developing the product from A to Z, you need to test the product, ensure that the product is what the consumer wants, that the market is ready for that product, and there is a market for our products or service. And rather than spend, investment money, and then at the end of the day, that's it. And many times that is true to us. We have an idea, we do not test it, we just think it's a great idea, we spend a lot of our monies, we develop it, put it on the market, and guess what? Nobody comes to dinner. And we end up being bankrupt or frustrated and so on. So that was a great idea. And what it also brought to us is that the members of the board represented persons from different socioeconomic background, different interests. They had different businesses, from event planner to radio personality to, crafts makers and manufacturers, and all of these participants were there, and they were a true representation of the real market. And so when the selection came back to the individual groups, it had been tested by a cross representation of the market. And so that brought to us that we need to test our market. We need to find out from differing views, not only our inner circle, that's our comfort zone, because they're the ones that are going to tell us most likely what we like to hear, what we want to hear. Right. But when it goes out into the raw market, the information that comes back to us is genuine, and it is ready. So
wonderful. And I think one out of that, though, would be one of the things you said, and all of that said, but also is to be able to let go, because if you feel that was your test product and your best product to hold, even if the market comes back and say no, some people will still go ahead. Yes, because that's what I want. And I think part of the game was to say to not go in with like blinders, that maybe you may think that, but go to what the market says. And that doesn't mean the idea is like a bad idea, but maybe for now, the market is not ready for that idea. The market wants instead something else. And so it's learning to kind of let go.
To be innovative.
Yeah, and to be innovative. And so, we are going to come down. We are going to take a break. When we come back, we will open the lines to you. It will be 500, 8,000. You can call us if your questions, your comments. And before we go on break, I just want to say a hi and a good night to all of my persons who usually watch us. This week I've had so many people saying to me, I don't watch you. So I say hello, good night to Mrs. Williams up in Daly Seas, as well as to Screws. Last night I met Screws and we had a wonderful discussion. And Screws, in the summer we shall see new innovations at Screws, and we'll talk about that a little later. So we'll be with you. Get your water, your popcorn. We'll be right back. On break.
In the sphere of business or your career, have you been confronted with situations that present questions for which you have no answers? In the realm of business, have you been searching for solutions? Stop now and search no more. Call us at VF Inc. at 449-9649. You may send us a fax at 449-9449. With integrity and excellence, we deliver solutions.
Tease the mind, body and soul. At Choices, we offer a variety of books and cards for all occasions. for men, women and children of all ages. For entertaining, create the ambience with a wide range of household items and dining wear. And for that fruity, flirty, sassy girl, a fragrance awaits you, along with our alluring selection of men's cologne. At Choices, the choice is yours.
Thank you for staying with us, and I just want to say a good evening to little Nathan, who insisted he wanted to come to set. I'm sure if you were at the beginning, you'd have seen his little head all over the place. Wanted to come on the program tonight. So Nathan, who is in the background watching, good evening, and I know it's time for you to go to bed just now. But before I go back to you ladies, I just want to give a little general information about the program, you know, the Grow Your Business Network, the Grow Your Business Seminar, and WINK. WINK being the Women Innovation, Women Innovation Network in the Caribbean. And WINK, the aims of WINK are to assist existing Caribbean women-led businesses which have the capacity to grow substantially via the adoption of innovative practices and products, to grow the pipeline of women-led innovative technology businesses, specifically in the areas of climate and mobile, to strengthen networks of innovative women entrepreneurs who can support each other, share knowledge and ideas, and inspire others by showcasing their success stories. So WINK really aims at promoting and strengthening, you know, women-led businesses. And I know some people are going to call and say, why women-led? We will come back to that in a little while. But it's because, you know, they want to recognize, I mean, there have been lots of models that have been tested outside, and I think India was really the test case for that, where they started the Gremlin Bank, whereby it was felt that if you empowered a woman, you not only empowered one person, you empowered a family, you empowered society, and it became better when they were financially independent. And so that is a model that is, you know, they take it around the world, but they do it differently in different communities. And so the model in the Caribbean is slightly different than the model that was used in Pakistan, India, and, you know, Asia. It's different from the model used in Africa, because for most parts, what it is looking at is women who are already in business, as well as women who would like to start up businesses. But for the startup, the focus is on technology-related businesses, business and dealing with climate change, business dealing with mobile. So this is where the focus is in terms of WINK. And the Grow Your Business Network, it aims, as I said, specifically at the two groups of women entrepreneurs. It is to increase and to enhance, you know, the women-led, the successful women-led businesses, to enhance success of that. And that model has been run and organized by two persons mainly for InfoDef, one being Dr. Monica Songkrat from Thailand, who we all knew, who participated as Molly. She's the one who actually developed the curriculum for this program. She's a lecturer at a university in Thailand. And Dr. Jill Sawyers, who is into innovation, who's South African. And so they were the ones who last year did the Train the Trainers. And so last year, the Train the Trainers was conducted in Barbados, and you had trainers from quite a range of Caribbean countries being trained, from Suriname, Belize, Jamaica, Barbados, Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Dominica. And out of that, they issued a call earlier this year for certification, meaning that from that group of persons, that they will become certified to be able to run these workshops in the Caribbean, so that they would no longer have to send Jill and Molly to run the workshops. If they come, they would come maybe more as support rather than run. So the workshops would be run by the women from the Caribbean, even manage the application process with the assistance of InfoDef for the further batches of the program. And so, you know, Jill, in fact, even me, I was really thankful to Jill, because I personally didn't see this call that went out to those who were trained, to the trainers. And about 2 or so days before the deadline, I got an email from Jill asking me, you know, if I was not interested. And you know what, I had seen this email and I really had not seen it. I don't know where it went. I actually went back to search for it and I couldn't find it. But when you saw the original, the orders had, my name was there, but I never got that email. And I applied and I was chosen as one of the persons, and fortunately we were certified. In fact, we were all certified. We had a good program, so there are now 7 of us certified in the Caribbean to run these programs. 3 persons from Trinidad and Tobago, 2 from Barbados, 1 from St. Lucia, and myself from Dominica. So ladies, your takeaway, what did you take away from the Grow Your Business in terms of even you and how you could apply it? Before I ask you if you'd recommend it, but what was your main takeaway, Vanessa, from that workshop you attended?
My main takeaway was more or less networking, right? One of the things that they from the beginning, they ask us, what do we expect from the workshop? Mm-hmm. Like, what do we really expect? Well, apart from information and, really being able, one of the things that I was interested in is networking, because networking sort of like helps you in many different ways. One of the important thing about it is that you can share with this person and know if, like as Auntie Afina was saying, when passing the products around and it come back, you might have an idea and you might have it and it might be good for Dominica. But then, would I be able to step forward into the region with that idea? Or would I just be able to remain in Dominica with that idea? So being able to get out there and share with these other business women, then you will know that, okay, you know what? Yes, I have a good idea that I can step out, because here it is that Jamaica is telling me, boy, that would be good in Jamaica. So right there, you have a network, and being able to know that if you have to go to Jamaica to really display your product or to either go on a trade mission, you have somebody that you can communicate with that can tell you, okay, this is the best time or this is the wrong time. For instance, one of the things, there's this lady, she do painting, and there's another lady that do from Barbados that also make different fabric. And here we're saying that, you know what, we can actually have some serious trade missions when it comes to product development, in that you can organize one on your side and we come to you in Antigua. Then Barbados can have one organized, we come to Barbados, and we can also organize one in Dominica and they come to us. So therefore we go around and we actually support each other. So networking for me was one of the most important things, right? And also the scamper, especially being able to think of substituting. Because for instance, they gave us, each of us, a bike.
Yes.
And then we had to, we had to come up with something different about that bike. That bike have to be unique, and it's amazing that the different ideas that come up with you getting a bike and what you can actually do with a bike. First you'll say a bike, but what I can do with a bike, I can just ride a bike, And here it is that some persons came up with bikes that don't even need handles because it have new technology. You can just press your direction and the bike takes you go. Some persons came up, like for instance, our group came up with a bike that was actually generating electricity by the pedaling, the continual pedaling of the bike generates electricity. And it's a delivery bike where we have a little cooler at the back and a little warmer at the front. And we deliver in our products, and what that had to be cold is cold, being generated by the pedaling of that. So, all those things, and people was across the room, but okay, we patent in our products, nobody, because the ideas was like things that we never thought of came up, and it's persons from different environment, persons from different background, persons from totally different businesses came up with taking one product and substituting and adapting and minimizing, maximizing, and here it is. We had a product that all of us agreed upon that would be good enough to go on the market.
Indeed. In fact, yes, even for St. Lucia, the groups, I mean, they came up with different things. I remember when our groups ourselves had done it. But one of the things they came up with from that was about bike. When the girl came to present, she said, who said a bike was for riding? And they had converted this bike into an automatic wine rack that rolled around. You turned it around and it brought you to the wine that you needed. So the bike became a wine rack rather than a bike and I mean, that was just, you know, every time I looked on it, I just said, that was just for me so amazing that somebody could come up with something, you know, so unique out of just one little idea. So Afnia, what's your takeaway from this, from the seminar for yourself?
Again, it's all about networking and the sharing and the power of sharing. And to go back to the bike story, we had the bike for the active lifestyle. It was a convertible bike that you could, you know, go up the mountains and do your hiking and do your daily exercise. And when it's raining or it's snowing, you could, it was convertible. You could take it into your room, your veranda, and it has a stand to put it on, and then you were pedaling away. So not only, and then it was collapsible. You could put it in your car. You could, you know. So it was a great idea. Everybody wanted to pattern the ideas in terms of that bike.
Oh, yeah, people.
So again, it was again the power of sharing, the power of collaboration, the power of getting different ideas and bouncing your ideas off. Persons from different areas, different backgrounds. And again, when you looked at the young people and the use of social networks, it told me as a business person who also have young children about that age group, and that is an example that I have. I have a restaurant that it's live. It's on social media. It has a Twitter account. It has a Facebook account. It has all kinds of accounts. And at any time, I get updates. How many persons have liked your site? How many persons have my customers come in and they would upload their meal, and I'm looking and they're having a meal at the table, and somebody's calling me and telling me, boy, that broth is looking so awesome, or that grilled chicken, and I'm like, where did you see that? It's on Facebook. I'm like, okay. So it just told us that we have to be ready to be prepared to change with the market, or else we'll be left behind. Right now, it's about technology, it's about social media, and you have to be in it to win it, and it's about being aware of what your competition is, what the market is asking for, and the various tools that are available for us that are there to assist us to grow our business, and just, you know, being open to new ideas. That is what actually I took away from the
Just a reminder that you can call us in at 500-8000 with questions, with comments, and you know, for Afinera, for Vanessa, for myself, to get more information on, you know, the program itself. But one of the things I want to ask both of you is in terms of the methodology of teaching, because I'm sure for many persons, the methodology used to teach and to convey the, you know, various theories, various strategies was a bit different than maybe the norm. You know, what was your own view? What was the reaction of even some of the other participants to the methodology used to teach?
Okay, for instance, when they first put us in our group, the first activity was finding words for our first name, every letter of our first name to get a positive word to match with it. And then getting into groups by sound of animals. You know, some persons, you check, I heard like different comments like, but what they have us doing, you know, like for instance, Miss Farah was one time, but okay,
Yeah,
in a sense, like, you know, but then after a lot of people was, okay, from one game to another game. But then, why is it going? They're starting to realize that it's still a learning process, right? And what was one of the comments, like I was in the group with the lady from Belly's, and one of the things that she's like, okay, that's a good idea. Because you find that most of the trainings, they're more like theory. So it's like they give you information. But with that, it was hands-on. You would get up, you would do things. And after, you would be asked, what did you learn? So it's not like they just come and teach you. What did you learn from that exercise? So you were actually teaching yourself, and you were evaluating yourself, because at the end of the exercise, you have to say, what did you learn for yourself, for your business? What did that teach you, right? And then from what you say, that is what they will expand on, and others will comment on. So the teaching wasn't just, yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm just being pumped information, but I was actually involved. And in that, it gives the person a better perspective because they are directly involved. So that is something, when it's done like that, that is something that you will not forget, because why? You actually took it, you take part in it, so you actually take it with you. It was part of you directly, because you came up with what, because each person might learn something different because of the difference in business or the difference in background. So they might learn something different. And I look at it as a way of even reaching out to the younger persons, because a lot of them, when you start working with them, they get a little bit tired because you're just giving them information. But in that way of training, it was just the way that, our young people right now need, because a lot of them like to be involved.
Well, again, because it was an adults grouping, they really had to come up with, methodology that was very participative, and that is where it held the interest of all participants, because there was nary a person that could fall asleep. Because the groups were also small, 5 to 6 persons per group, each person had an opportunity to participate. And then each group at the end of every exercise had to present. Yes. And it was the members of the group who selected who would participate, who would present, who would be the scribe, and who would be the presenter. And so you got an opportunity for everybody almost to present, even those who thought that they were shy. Right. But because they were involved in the whole exercise, their product knowledge was on par, so anybody could step out and represent the group. So that was, the methodology was really very good. I think it took, and what was also good about that was also the use of the local facilitators. What it brought was the content. They could identify, and the examples that they were using were examples that the participants could identify with. It was not some high pollutant someplace in Africa or England or
In the sphere of business or your career, have you been confronted with situations that present questions for which you have no answers? In the realm of business, have you been searching for solutions? Stop now and search no more. Call us at VF Inc. at 449-9649. You may send us a fax at 449-9449. With integrity and excellence, we deliver solutions.
Tease the mind, body and soul. At Choices, we offer a variety of books and cards for all occasions, for men, women and children of all ages. For entertaining, create the ambience with a wide range of household items and dining wear. And for that fruity, flirty, sassy girl, a fragrance awaits you, along with our alluring selection of men's cologne. At Choices, the choice is yours.
Okay, thank you for staying with us. And Ms. Charles, if you're watching, I'm sure you recognize a little bit of what they're saying. I think of it as the high scope method of teaching for adults, because you know, the social center now use the high scope, where it's learning through play. So the children do a lot of play, and after they finish play, they ask them, you know, what did you learn? And out of what the children say, they then craft the lesson. But at the end of the day, trust me, they come out knowing the same, everything they're supposed to know, and maybe even some more. And they're even more independent, they're more, you know, articulate, they have a voice and want to be heard. And, you know, sometimes, you know, as parents, you have to take a step back because you're in this little person who is, you know, trying to negotiate his or her way with you. And so, Henry, you were talking, you know, just to wrap up that last part in terms of...
Okay, well, Andy, what the activities also taught us, and what I took away from it, is the importance of being part of your business, being part of the process, the decision-making process. Because sometimes in our businesses, a lot of times we leave it up to the administrative staff or the management staff, and we are like a little bit removed from some of the processes. And so the workshop brought to home that for every stage of the process, we should be involved. We should be aware of what is going on in our business. We should be aware of our business environment. We should be aware of, and we should never discount the ideas or the contribution of the lowlies of your staff. Because again, this camper brought to mind, everybody is giving out their ideas. Everybody came in, you know, from different backgrounds and had a contribution to make. And so your contribution within our own business environment, we can get ideas. We get ideas a lot of times from the customers. We must listen to what the customer is saying, listen to what the employee is saying, listen to what persons who are not even your clients are saying about your product or service, and take it in good stead and make amendments or adjustments accordingly. That would augur well for the growth of the business.
Wonderful. So now that we've heard all about it, we know what you've taken away from it, how can you apply, or can you apply anything that you have learned to your business, and how do you plan to apply what you have learned to grow your business? Because the whole aim of the exercise is to grow your business.
Yes, basically, for instance, your concept, the different features that make your business unique or make it important. You know, also the benefits of your business to your customers. These are the things that you have to really, you know, point your finger on and really decide, you know, I am going to really focus on this. It's not just about, as one of the things that they said, it's not just about the price or the cost of your product, but the value in your product, the value in probably displaying your product, the value in providing that customer with what that customer, you know, that customer needs, and that it's actually a benefit to the customer. And you know, that is very important, because what you find that a lot of people might figure, oh, you know what, that person have the same product as I have, let me lower the price. The first thing they will think of is lowering the price, instead of thinking of, you know what, let me think of another way to give them value, to present it differently, that, you know, it will stand out more than the other person. But our first instinct is, let's lower the price. But it's not just about price, it's about value and what the customer live with. Whatever the customer live with, the customer carries with them, and they encourage others. Because if a customer come to your place and they live with a negative feeling and a bad attitude, they're not going to send anybody else to you, right? So being able to really concentrate on not just the price of the product, but also on as the value of your presentation, the value of you as a business person, as an entrepreneur. You know, this is one of the most key things, and making sure that there is satisfaction in whatever, whether it's service, whether it's product, whatever you present to this customer, that they are satisfied and there is a benefit for the customer.
Good, thank you. So would you recommend anyone to attend that workshop if it's been held?
Well, actually, I would recommend a lot of women, and I wish that probably we could actually have a training for women in Dominica, because you find that most of our women entrepreneurs, if their failure or their downfall is not necessarily because of bad management or accounting. Sometimes they just need the support, being able to understand others and know that, yes, there are persons that I can actually trust, or I can go to, or I can, you know, sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, your idea is not good, but it's just because you don't have that support. But if we had, like, for instance, that sort of like an entrepreneurship group, women entrepreneurs in Dominica, I think it would help a lot of the entrepreneurs, because what we realize is that the majority of entrepreneurs coming up right now is women.
All right, so Afine, what are you going to apply to your business? You have about 2 minutes to answer that, and would you recommend it to others?
Of course. Well, the whole, one of the areas we looked at also, it was the area of product differentiation. We are in a marketplace with multiple competitors within the same, you know, product or service line. How do I differentiate my product? How do I make my product special? How do I, you know, ensure that when a customer buys my product or my service, that they get value for money, and they are willing to pay a premium even for a product with, you know, many options, many substitutes. How can I look at the product that I presently have or the service I'm providing and have alternatives or, you know, other side products that will complement the product that or service that I'm providing? And we explored that to a certain extent, and this is one of the areas that, you know, I can see I have already started implementing some of the recommendations and some of the learning that came from that workshop. So I would recommend this highly to, I mean, all serious business women in Dominica, truly. And to back up Vanessa is to, again, have almost a training, because one of the things that were asked of us from the facilitators, I mean the organizers of the workshop, is if the training was to come, you know, on a national level, who would be the best implementing body to have to implement this training? Should it be the government? Should it be a private sector firm? Should it be an NGO organization, a trade organization? And, you know, from the various participants came different recommendations based on their own national, you know, issues, or how strong the NGO community was, how facilitating the government was, and such that. So from the various participants that came, and of course, any woman in business, and many of the women in business in Dominica, if they get an opportunity, should really attend such a workshop. That, you know, I've attended many workshops, and because of the methodology, because of the type of workshop, it was so dynamic, it was so participative. It was really geared for adult learning, and not only adult learning, but adult serious women in business to get out and to take out of it, you know, so much more, to stick with them, because we would dip into the participative aspect of the workshop.
And ladies, I thank you. We are down to our last 50 seconds. I thank you for your for being here with us this evening and for sharing your experience with your business. We know in Antigua there were 2 other Dominicans who attended, and that was Mrs. Olivia Ferrer as well as Miss Lucilla Luis. Out of in St. Lucia was Mrs. Gail Defoe out of Nature Island Fresh. And although I didn't ask her, but I hope she doesn't mind, and I know one of the things she said in the beginning, you know, she said her expectation was nothing and everything, because she has been to so many of the workshops over the years. And, you know, it was so, I mean, tears came to my eyes when Mrs. Defoe gave her evaluation in terms of how for her that was just so different. And so folks, we are coming to our end. Happy Easter. May it be a time of renewal for you. Until we meet again, may God keep us in the palm of his hands. Good night.